This is pretty big news in the travel world this week, so let me fill you in and give you my take. There have been 5 TikTok videos I've seen of people coming forward saying that they traveled outside of the United States and were stopped by Interpol, the international police, because their passports had been marked as stolen and therefore were invalid. They had to either return home or go to the embassy and get an emergency passport that day. But every single one of these people is saying, I have my passport, I've used it, I didn't mark it stolen. A guy who went to Thailand and had this happen to him said that he called the Department of State, called Homeland Security, the U.S. Passport Office. No one had any information, but from a TikTok comment, he was able to find out that his local passport office had been the one to mark it as stolen. And we don't know why yet. It's like happening this week. I'm seeing all these stories come out. I've seen a few reports say that it's clerical error. My take, my belief is that it is AI. I think that more companies and even the U.S. federal agencies, which is insane, are using AI to do some of these things. And I think it's AI marking people's passports as invalid or stolen. And if you're wondering if you can check if your passport's valid before one of your upcoming trips, unfortunately, you cannot. The only way you'll find out is by traveling outside the country, which is when you perhaps least want to find that out. That's all the information I have. If it happens to you, all I can say is that you should know the process for getting an emergency passport from a nearby embassy. Look up the information before your trip and hope it doesn't happen to you. I hope it doesn't happen to more people.
Welcome back to the channel, my people. It's your girl, Precious. If you love the truth, if you hate fearing haggling, and if you are tired of social media lies that confuse ordinary people, then this channel is for you exactly. So every day we see videos that sound serious, look serious, and talks with confidence. But the big question is, are they telling the truth or they are selling fear from views? Today's video is very, very important, especially for travelers, immigrants, and working class people who does not have lawyer or special connection. This video claims that US passports are being cancelled at an alarming rate, and that travelers should be terrified. But instead of panicking, we are going to slow down, think clearly, and ask real questions, because fear is powerful, fear spreads faster, and fear makes people stop thinking on this channel, which is very bad. We listen well, we don't analyze, we don't share, we question, we don't let anyone use panic to control our minds. So sit down and listen carefully. Let's break this down together, calmly, honestly, with that fact. Trust me.
Well, here it is, folks. It is happening. They want to lock you in this country. A new bill introduced this week would give Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, the ability to revoke and deny passports to U.S. citizens. And for what? For what you think and for what you say. Introduced by the chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Republican Brian Mast from Florida. Of course, they couch it as this is for terrorists and for traffickers, but we know that's not true because this is the exact same line of logic that they use to strip students and to arrest green card holders. So all of the pro-Palestine protesters at Columbia, across these other universities, where they stripped their student visas, where they arrested people like Khalil Mahmoud just for exercising their First Amendment speech for protesting the genocide. Now they want to do that same thing without due process to U.S. citizens. They want to strip your passport or to deny your passport application for things that you have said. And what they're going to do is they're going to say that you have provided material support to terrorism based on the things that you have said. But the difference is they would have to prove that in a court of law if they were to charge you under terrorism laws. Under this bill, they just accuse you They accuse you of being a terrorist, of providing material support. They never have to prove anything. Then they just take away your passport. Because if you're actually a terrorist, they don't need to do this. They just charge you. Under the terrorism laws, you go to prison. Remember, my global entry was revoked in March, 2 weeks after I started speaking out against the regime. There's no due process there. And they want to do the same thing to just take away your ability to leave this country without any due process. They make an accusation, boom, no passport, you can't travel anymore. This is another canary in the coal mine. This is telling you get out now because they are locking down the borders. And if you can afford it, subscribe to my Substack. That allows me to show I have steady income, which will allow me to gain residency and eventually citizenship. Because on this trajectory, at some point, they're going to take away my passport. They're going to denaturalize me. It's only a matter of time. So I need to prepare myself for when those things happen.
I was deported from Thailand. And it's because the American system is failing you in a way that you don't even know about. So on December 28th, me and my girlfriend fly from Miami, Florida to Doha, Qatar to Bangkok, Thailand. And upon arrival, I go into immigration and I'm told that my passport is flagged as lost or stolen by Interpol. So in case you don't know, the only way that it can be marked as lost is if you yourself mark it as lost. You need your social security number, your birth certificate, you need all of your personal information to mark it as lost.
My name is Marcy. I was supposed to be deported from Rome, but thankfully was not, and I'm going to go ahead and explain what's been going on with my passport in a non-vlog style video. So I originally did it in the form of a vlog because I thought that this is a hilarious situation. The circumstances are unbelievable. Like, who would this happen to?
Long story short, a bunch of people have now been coming out talking about how their passports, even though it's legitimate and everything is by the book, they have been deported from foreign countries and sent back to America because their passports have either been reported stolen or it has been voided. Remember, I made a video and I said, I believe, my theory, I have no proof, but I believe the Iron Curtain goes down after the World Cup. When the World Cup is over, that's when America will show its true face. It can't do that now because it needs all these people to come to America and we need their money. So it's either the World Cup this year or the Olympics next year, but one of the two, the Iron Curtain is coming down. And once it comes down, you will find out that wall in Mexico was never to stop the Mexicans from coming in. It was always to stop Americans from leaving. Don't forget, up to 5 Americans so far. 5 different Americans have gone to Canada to request asylum, only to get arrested by the Canadian police and sent back to America. So if you go to Canada thinking, oh shit, everything is scary here, I'm gonna run to Canada. Nope. Canadians will arrest you and send you the fuck back. Y'all don't understand what's going on. This is the time for second passports. By the way, black people, actually, there's no war in Boston. Say black people, don't worry about it. Black man, go do you. Go get those jeans. Go figure out which girl's gonna be your baby mama. Black girls, don't worry about it. Black man ain't shit. Go get you a white man, pasta lobster. Get that vacation. Everything is all copacetic, baby.
This video is not super fun to make. However, I was encouraged to make it by the office of my congressional representative, which is a crazy thing to say out loud. Someone or something in the Trump administration wiped my existence from the US passport database. Let me explain. On December 19th, 2025, I received a notice at 2:17 in the morning, local time here in Los Angeles, that my access to the Global Entry Traveler Program had been revoked. And the reason for my revocation was that I no longer met the requirements for the Global Entry Program. Now, the requirements are not having been charged with a felony, check, never been charged with a felony, having valid identification and documents, check, I have valid documents. My passport was not expired. And one of the last things on the eligibility list was not under investigation for terrorism. Well, that exact day, Pam Bondi sent a letter to the FBI requesting that pro-trans activists be labeled as domestic terrorists. I'm shaking. So, as many of you guys know, I am a pro-trans activist. I have worked with the ACLU during the US versus Scrimeti case. I have a trans partner. I have a trans sister. I I am very blessed to have many trans friends, and I have worked as a healthcare provider providing gender affirming care for trans youth. And needless to say, I freaked the fuck out. I did also contact friends of mine who are attorneys and friends of mine who work in the federal government, and I was told there is a chance that this could have just been a clerical error. And so for the sake of my mental health, I just went with that. And they told me to go ahead and apply to renew my passport online and see what happens next. So last week I did just that. And I applied on the US passport website to renew my passport online as it expires this coming year. I was then told that no one with my identity was found anywhere in the US passport system. At this point, I got in contact with my congressional representative and his office, and was told by one of the field staff here in Los Angeles that this specific notice was unusual and that there had been a record of clerical errors where people had been removed from the passport system because their passport was incorrectly marked lost or stolen. That is not what happened to me. And I was told that if that had happened, the error message that I received would have said that. It didn't. It said that no one with my identity was found anywhere in the US passport system. So, with the help of my congressional representative and his office, I am now waiting for an appointment with the US passport office here in Los Angeles to see what's going on, to see if there are any holds on my access to my legal documents that would allow me to travel and leave the country, and why this is happening. Because right now, no one seems to have a clear reason why. And again, it could be clerical error. However, knowing that I am allegedly the only person that this specific series of events has happened to, and also knowing that the Global Entry Program is a completely different governmental agency than the passport system, and that both of them had been alerted of me. I don't know. So that is my update for you guys. And if I go dark, I need you guys to be really loud. And if this continues to happen to people, or if this happens to you or someone you know, please get in contact with your congressional representative and just know that there are pathways, and that also you are not alone, because I have been alone this whole time. I didn't think this was happening to anybody else, and I still don't know of anyone else that this exact series of events has happened to. So that is my update. Thank you for watching, and holy shit.
If you're American and you have an international trip coming up, I know you're probably panicking right now if you've been seeing the viral videos of people saying that they went on vacation, they traveled, got to their destination, and then upon arrival, they found out that their passports were canceled, and it was not canceled by them. They were told that their passport was canceled because it was reported lost or stolen. See, the thing is, it's not easy to report it as lost and stolen. You have to go through a bunch of different steps. It's not a simple clerical error. And that can be terrifying real time, because now you're in this country. You don't have anyone to support you, and you don't have access. So people are reporting that they've been detained, they've been sent right back, or they had to rush to the embassy and then spend hundreds of dollars, $300 and upwards, to get an emergency passport on the spot. The reality of the situation right now, we do not know how often this happens, because they don't keep track of how many times passports that have been reported stolen was correct or it was a false report. But we do know currently it is a growing problem. And people are wondering, is this a method of revenge or control? They don't want people to travel? As of right now, we know that there is one way that you can check. If you call the National Passport Information Center, I'm putting the information on the screen, they can assist you. Make sure when you're on the phone with them, you have your passport with you, because they're going to ask you information, and you're simply calling to ask to see if your passport is currently valid or if it's been reported as stolen, just to make sure. They have the ability to check in real time. However, there is another rumor right now on TikTok that if you send in an FOIA request, that they can also assist you. Just to be clear, that request is for if your passport is canceled. That's when they do the investigation with that request. If you send that request in, that takes months at some point. It will be useless. You will probably miss your flight. Plus, if your passport isn't canceled, they don't have anything to investigate. Now, a little bit of the scary part is there is no way to lock your passport. So if you were to check and then all of a sudden it was labeled lost or stolen after checking, there is no way to stop that. The best way that we can mitigate that at the current moment is to call that National Passport Information Center.
It is now extremely unlikely that my wife will be able to visit the United States anytime soon. For those that don't know me, my name is Chris. I'm an American. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Adenike, for the past year and a half. We have been waiting for her visa interview to come to the United States since May 2024, and with the new presidential travel ban, she currently has no path to come to the United States. As of the presidential proclamation yesterday, the U.S. will no longer issue immigrant visas to Nigerian spouses. There are a total of 35 countries, all listed below, affected by this ban. Previously, earlier travel bans had only focused on non-immigrant visas. These are things like student visas, business visas, and tourist visas. People petitioning for their spouses or children were exempt, and this is no longer the case. My wife has never met the majority of my relatives, and she has never set foot in my home country of the United States. I think a lot of Americans don't realize how difficult it actually is to come to the country legally. We have known each other for 5 years, and my wife has never been able to come to the United States. And now it is essentially impossible. I made a lot of videos explaining this process because I feel that it is important to call attention to the hundreds of thousands of people in my same situation waiting endlessly to be reunited with their spouse. I use these videos to draw attention to the real people caught in these immigration battles, and hope you will like, comment, and share this video to spread awareness.
Before you go, please remember this. Not every loud video is telling the truth. And not every confidence voice is honest. Fear spread fast on social media, but thinking clearly is the skill. And that is what we build on this channel here. We don't rush. We don't panic. We don't let anyone scare us for views. We slow things down, break things apart, and ask questions that matters, especially for everyday people who just want to live, travel, and survive in hard system. If you are tired of scale-bits, tired of fear videos, and tired of being talking down to them, this channel is for you. Subscribe, like, share, and not because I said, but because clearly this is powerful and we need more on it. Stay calm and spirituous. And I would like to see you on my next video. Remain blessed.